so easy to break someone's trust, and it's so hard to fix it. What's on my mind today is trust. I want to talk to you about trust. Before we start with that, start with this bolt right here. So I was working on my daughter's car this week, replacing a bad thermostat, when I broke this bolt off in the engine. Literally snapped it right off. For anyone that knows anything about cars, replacing a thermostat is probably about the easiest job you're going to get. I mean, it's not an oil change, but it's, especially on this car, it's pretty basic. It's pretty simple. The problem is after we replaced it, there was a little leak. So I did what I thought was right. I went in there and I snugged up the bolts a bit. When I was doing that, obviously I put a little too much pressure on it. I broke one of the bolts off right in the engine. Not good. What was now a simple fix just turned into a major ordeal. This was a bummer, and I knew it as soon as it happened. Immediately, I sensed it and like, oh, this is bad. So you might be asking, what does this have to do with trust? It occurred to me that there's so many similarities between this broken bolt and broken trust. See, it's so easy to break someone's trust, and it's so hard to fix it. See, the trust that we build with people at work especially, it's not like our personal relationships. Mercy and grace can be hard to come by with the people that we work with. We oftentimes take those relationships for granted, and even though mercy and grace should be everywhere, it's just not in reality. So it's different. It's different because the people that we love and that we're friends with, they may tend to look past things. They may tend to look past imperfections and mistakes that we've made. The people at work, they count on us for different things. So expecting mercy and grace for them it's just not always there. So we have to be cautious, more cautious. And like our work relationships, I took this bolt for granted. I expected it was going to be able to take the pressure and take my mistakes, and well, obviously it did not. This is the same thing that can happen with trust. Especially in our work relationships. Even the smallest thing can damage that trust. A crossword under your breath, a misread text message, a snarky comment about someone when they're not around that they hear about later on. There are so many ways to break trust, and again, so hard to fix. So while that's bad news, there is some good news. Trust can be fixed, it can be repaired. As long as you're committed to it and willing to change your approach, there's a chance you can repair the trust. Like the broken bolt, the first step is recognizing what you've done wrong. See, even with my thermostat, there was actually 4 bolts. And because I recognized right away that I had made a mistake with the one, I was able to rescue the other 3. As soon as I realized it, I backed off the other bolts very carefully and took the pressure off of them. Because I did this, the car actually still runs. I can still take it to the mechanic. It's not permanently damaged. I mean, it is, the bolt is permanently damaged, but there's still a chance for us to rescue the car. If we stick with the trust analogy, that means recognizing that initial mistake is the first step. It may even mean an apology of some kind. We've got to look at repairing whatever misdeed caused the break in trust. And again, just like the bolt analogy, when I had to walk into the mechanic, I had to humble myself. I had to ask for forgiveness, and I had to basically put my head down and ask for help. This is not an easy step for any of us. So take a breath. It's okay. Drop the ego down and be humble. And just like I had to seek professional help, you may have to seek some help yourself. It might be from the person themselves. It might be from a friend or coworker, or maybe even someone from HR or your boss. You may have to seek that depending on what you've done. So be prepared. It's not fun, not easy, but it may be what's needed to repair that trust. The catch to all of this is time. It just takes time. Just like my car situation, I'm going to have the best time to get this all straightened out. I'll have to be patient with the mechanic. This is not a simple oil change, so it's going to take more of his time, more of his patience, and I'm going to have to be at the mercy of their time. You'll likely have to do the same. Trust won't be fixed overnight. The person's got to need to know that your actions have changed, that they can trust that you have changed your ways. Think of this like putting the wrench on the new bolt and using a gentler touch. Don't get me wrong with all of this. Depending on the severity and how often this situation has been repeated, That will depend on how easy it is to repair the trust. At some point, it may be unrepairable. Just like if I can't figure out the bolt on the car, this might not be the right car for my daughter. We'll see. Hopefully that's not the case. So all this being said, hopefully you'll treat this as a cautionary tale. Don't take your work relationships for granted. Be gentle when you're tightening pressure. Be quick to recognize when you've broken trust. And be patient when you're rebuilding it. I hope this helps, and I hope you have a great day.